Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Crumpet Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra Kate, and I am the 5-star general. So I told you he was coming. He couldn't make it the other night, but Fred G. Taylor is on the way, candidate for mayor, Missouri City, Texas. And you know my man's Donovan gonna lace y'all up on Trump and his silliness. As usual, man. Let's get to it, man. Say, man, I want to welcome y'all to another episode of the War Zone, and thank you for tuning in as usual. You're the best audience in the world, because without you guys, we would not have a show at all. And as I normally say, and I forgot to tell you this week, happy, whatever that may mean. You know what it is. I know what I got to talk about tonight, Demetra, real quick. Spoke to a bunch of guys from militias that run militias, and they feel they are getting a bad reputation because of one dude. And they feel that people are perceiving them as terrorist groups, and they're not that. And I talked to quite a few of them for a long period of time, so they got a chance to feel me out, and I got a chance to feel them out. And they just feel like, man, these folks labeling us as terrorists, and they're not terrorists. I wish somebody would just label the KKK terrorists. They've been terrorizing people for 400 years. But I guess, I guess it's the color of their uniforms that let them get away with it. Donovan, what's happening, man?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Friday show, the realest conversation on the internet. In the news today, President Trump, actually, he said this yesterday, but he reiterated today on Fox and Friends. He reiterated that he would like, and Bill Barr, he addressed this to Bill Barr. He's doing a Jeff Sessions on Bill Barr. He said that he wants Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, and former President Barack Obama arrested immediately for spying, quote, spying on his campaign.
Say, man, did the man drink too much Clorox when he went there with the COVID?
Nobody seems to know. Also in the news today, the House took up Article 25, which they should have done a month after Trump got into office. And that's the article that actually questions if the president is eligible and sane enough to occupy the office. And it puts into the tact of removing him if need be, if he's built that he cannot do the job. Also in the news, in Las Vegas, a young man was arrested, and he is actually out on bail, Demetra. We did this on an earlier show. He's out on bail right now. His daughter was locked in a car that he couldn't seem to get out. He didn't want to bust the windows out because it was a new car. But new evidence has come out. That new car was 10 years old, Altima. But this goes back to what I keep telling you guys. In our neighborhood, in our community, we have a lack of wealth. So in our community, a used car is considered new. And that's the directive that he put out. A lot of stuff is still being investigated in regards. Right now, they have charged him with child neglect and a few other minor type crimes. But think about this. I want you guys to think about this. He was arrested. He didn't want to break the window to get his child out of the car because it was going to cost too much money. But he posted bail. He had money to post bail. Total dirtbag right there.
Total so let me ask you a question that Jamarcus Owens asked. Why wouldn't the cops break the window?
Because he didn't want him to. He told the cops not to.
The cops actually break the window. The cops broke the window eventually. Because they were even getting ready to call a locksmith and all of that, but he kept saying no because it costs too much money.
No, go ahead. I'm just waiting.
Yeah, so the cops eventually did break the window, even after trying to help him, because he, you know, turned down a bunch of offers from the, you know, people calling tow truck, locksmiths, the insurance company. Even his brother was going to break the window because he wrapped his shirt around his fist, getting ready to break the window. He was like, no, I don't have the money to pay for it. It's going to cost too much money. And so eventually, from what I understand, the cops did break the window. And when they got the little girl from the car, said rigor mortis had already set in. And so something is not right.
They gonna break his ass when he get to jail.
Exactly. And also AG of Kentucky, Daniel Cameron, he has been called to the carpet. He is putting an injunction to make the grand jury person who wanted the evidence revealed to shut up, because basically from the transcripts that has been released, Cameron never ever talked about Breonna Taylor to the grand jury in regards to charges. And that's why Breonna Taylor's mother was so upset, because he told her one thing, then went in there and did another thing. So just because
he told her one thing and she took the money and then he backdoored her. Don't take the money before you get justice. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but I mean, that dude need to be up under a jailhouse. But when you go in there and you cut the deal, then you know it's repercussions for your actions. So I just feel like they took the money. They feel like they don't owe them nothing.
Exactly. And then Cheryl Craven says, what neighborhood are you looking at? Because I know plenty of blacks that have new cars. Well, I'm not sure if you came into the conversation late, Cheryl. We're talking about an incident of a young man that lost his daughter, and the daughter died, and he didn't want the car being broken into. I did not say black people don't have new cars. We do have new cars, but a lot of us get used cars and we say that it's new. And this is the reason why he didn't want the window broken, because he had just bought the car. Come to find out, the car is 10 years old. You could always replace a car and a window, but you can't replace a life. So it didn't really make sense why he did not want to rescue his daughter. But there's more evidence to come. We're going to find out what's actually going on.
Well, you know, and the car was new to him, right? It sounded like he had just purchased the car. As a Nissan Altima or something like that. So the car was new to him, but even if it was a Bentley, fresh off the showroom floor, that window should have been busted immediately. It says there's conflicting reports. There's a lot of stuff out there coming out now. But from what a lot of people are saying, it was about an hour had elapsed from the time that he called originally. I forget who he called first, whether it was his mom, his girlfriend, whoever. So there's quite a few people involved with trying to plead with him one way or another to get the little girl out of the car, and he was not having it. He did not want his car window busted to save the life of his daughter. Now, as I said earlier, the better side of me wants to believe that maybe he didn't think his daughter was in distress. Now, the other part should be said too, is that he has two other prior run-ins with CPS. Those cases were unsubstantiated. I guess you're basically saying that they didn't find any, you know, good cause to do anything. But there is that thing. You know, he has two prior issues with CPS. And now his daughter his 22-month-old daughter is dead due to, from what they think initially, it's being locked in a hot car. Now, it should also be said, he said when he called the brother, I think it was, he reassured him, oh, don't worry, the air conditioner's on. So how could the air conditioner be on and your daughter die of heat exhaustion or heat stroke or whatever it was? She succumbed to the heat. So how could both of those things be true unless the air conditioning was blowing out hot air? And so there's a lot of holes in his story, I would say. A lot of things don't make sense, but regardless of what it is, we do know what is true, is that he didn't want to bust his window and his daughter is dead because she was stuck in a hot car.
I think we're going to have to finally admit that some of these youngsters don't need kids. It's just too much going on with them. I mean, down here in Houston, you have the two people that were just arrested for Malia Bass's murder. The dude was all on TV crying and all that. And when he was on TV crying, you know, I just said, I know he did it. I mean, you're putting on too much of a show. But we just have to start admitting that a lot of these youngsters are not prepared to take care of kids, and they don't need children. They realistically don't. Some of them don't need children because every time you look up, one of these kids are being harmed. Something's going on, and it's ridiculous, man. So, I mean, Donovan, what do you think? I don't think some of them need kids.
Well, what's that saying? A lot of us are here not because our parents wanted us. So, they dealt with the situation as it projected itself. And I'm with you wholeheartedly. With this me attitude that we raise our kids to have, a lot of people, you look at it. Another thing that was brought up, if you look at the picture of the young man and his daughter, I mean, he has $150+ Jordans on and a Gucci belt. I mean, so how much would it have cost to replace a window? I mean, it's just a lot. It's just a tragic situation, and I think it's more of our value system, what we value. I mean, is a car more valuable than a human life? I just don't. I can't correlate. I can replace a car. How many of us go through cars and wrecks and everything? We can replace that, but you can't replace the human life, much less your own flesh and blood.
You asked a good question. Is a car more valuable than human life? I mean, I don't think some days we value life or we value death. We'll put insurance on our iPhone and won't put insurance on our children. And, I don't even understand how you can justify that. I don't understand how you can justify it. That's why I'm saying that, first of all, look, we're going to have to admit some things. 5 Star going to keep it 100 with y'all. A lot of y'all done let your kids get them vaccines and let them people make your child play crazy, putting square pegs in round holes so you get checks and all that. Them kids ain't mentally right. Then you let them start it in your house, all of a sudden. And I'm just telling you the real. You're letting them in your house. They ain't going to no motels. You're letting that go on. And then all of a sudden they pregnant with a kid and you chunk them to the wolves, to the world, and think they supposed to mentally be able to handle this. And that's when it gets real, because now they have to survive, not just for themselves, but for a child that they figure out later on that they really didn't want. That's why I tell kids, you don't need to have no safe sex. You don't need to have sex. Just wait. Enjoy your time being a child, because that's what happens. They have these kids, and then the kid get old enough where they can dump him off on somebody, grandma, friends, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then they revert back to being a kid. So that Barbie doll all of a sudden starts being a real baby in that house that you need Pampers and shit for. And they can't handle it. Mentally, they can't handle it. And I'll just be straight up with y'all, man. Some of y'all children are retarded. I'm just going to tell you the real. I'm going to tell you the real. And they can't even put their socks on by their damn self. If your mama buying your drawers, if your mama paying your cell phone bill, you don't need to be out here getting nobody pregnant or laying up getting pregnant. Demetrius, I see your eyes got big because they're real in the field.
Yeah, I would co-sign everything y'all said. And also, people aren't teaching their kids coping skills anymore. A lot of times when people abuse their children, and to your point, Gary, is a lot of these young kids having kids. Hell, most adults aren't fully ready for parenthood. Like, parenthood is more than getting the kid dressed in cute clothes and, combing his hair. And it's more to it than that. And so when those parents aren't taught coping skills, they don't know how to handle the kids. And so they might resort to beating them and hitting them. Like, I have, my daughter's almost 28 and my nieces and nephews are around that age. And so they're having children now. And occasionally one of them will pop their child. And I say, don't be hitting that baby. And they say, well, why didn't you say that when you was raising us and this, that, and the other? And I said, well, I hate to say it, but when you know better, you do better, And it's just, it's true. You know better, you do better. But I tell them, I said, especially when you are beating the kids, not that they beat the kids, but, putting your hands on the kids, you're teaching them violence. And so it is better to parent your children with your mind and not your hands. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but we're not teaching kids coping skills anymore. And then they end up having children and they end up harming the kids because they don't know how to deal or cope as a parent. So, hello there.
I'm gonna give you foul. I'm gonna give y'all foul warning. Straight up. I don't want it to be a surprise. You bring your kid around me and they do something wrong, I'm gonna beat the hell out your kid. I'm telling you. And I'm gonna beat him for one reason. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you get your ass whooped as a youngster like you're supposed to, you end up with great strengths. You end up with great strengths. You understand respect. You understand values. You understand all that. So if you don't want to raise them, don't have them. But more importantly, I'm just letting y'all know, don't bring them around me. Don't bring your kid around me because I keep that belt on lock. I got a couple of switches in the back room. Oh, yeah, I will light you up. I'm not Adrian Peterson. I don't care. Say I see my man popped in, Fred Taylor, he's running for mayor up in Missouri City, Texas, man. It's good to have you on, Fred. What's going on, my friend?
Man, thank you for having me. I appreciate you. And I'm happy to be on.
Well, man, I tell you something. I've been watching you for a few years. I've had the opportunity to watch this man work in the community. Not being an elected official, but just work in the community. So, you know, the thing about Fred that I like the most, he has receipts. You know, and wasn't an elected official. He has receipts. He's been taking care of the neighborhood, been taking care of the seniors, been giving a damn about education. You know, to the point you were in education. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is now my man is running for mayor of Missouri City. So I'm gonna stop talking. Tell the people a little bit about you, Fred.
Wow. So thank you for all of that. You know, let me see where I can start at. First of all, my dad didn't spare the rod neither. So you see some of these great screens right here. So I got a lot of it, you know. So, but you know, that's one of the reasons why I went into the Marine Corps. My dad was super hard on me. And, you know, so at 16 years of age, I joined the Marine Corps. And it was a breeze to me because it was nothing like being at 6009 East Houston Road versus the Marine Corps boot camp. You know, so I spent about 9.5 years in there. And when I got out, you know, I knew that with a family, I had to find a job. But even looking for a job, I seen that, you know, it was time for us to stand up, vote, and take notice of what was going on in our community. And so my mom, she was very active before she passed away in this February, very active in the community. And she passed that on and instilled that into me. I remember Ernest McGowan over there in District B. He was one of my most influential person that over there in the North Side that I really looked up to, and I still look up to him, even though he's not here, you know. So fast forward, you know, I knew moving to Missouri City that I had to get involved because coming from Fifth Ward and City Gas, where we didn't have sidewalks and all we had is shotgun houses, hey, coming to Missouri City was a blessing. I really love Missouri City. And I took it one step further. You know, I started getting involved in politics and helping people get elected. But what I found is even though you help certain people get elected, they forget where they come from. They forget what they was there for. A lot of them, you know. And so even the one that I helped get in this office right now, you know, is a hermit. She forgot where she came from. And she continued to ignore, you know, the people who helped her and everything else. So I'm running for mayor because there's so much we can do, so much better we can do. But we need somebody competent, capable, and qualified to do the things that I want to do. You know, it's not heavy lifting. It's something that we can do. All we got to do is do it. You know, and unfortunately, we don't have the will in this office right now to get that stuff done. You know, and I'm a very vocal person, you know, and so a lot of time, you know, people don't like people who speak out. They don't like people who stand out and get things done because it make them look bad, you know, and I don't give a, you know what. So I know I got to watch my mouth, you know, but I'm going to do my best. I'll let you guys do it. And if I can sneak one in, I'll sneak one in. But I'm here to run, to win. I'm here to get things done and get the hell up out of there because an elected office should not be where you just sit there, do nothing, just collect a paycheck, you know, and I would never do that. I'm here to serve, to work hard, and call people out when they ain't doing a damn thing. And so we're going to do that tonight, hopefully, and we're going to continue to do it until all those busters get out of there.
Demetri, I think you like him.
Yeah, so far, so far. So once again, welcome to the War Zone. Glad you could join us. And so I was, kind of looking at some of your campaign stuff, your campaign slogans, and you use the word transparency. Like it really jumped out, transparency. So to you, what does it mean to be transparent? And do you feel like the current mayor is or is not transparent?
Well, you know what? Let me just go and be real with all your viewers. We have a situation right now where the mayor is not the mayor. We got somebody running Missouri City, don't even live in Missouri City. Michael Harris, I call his name out because everybody know that Yolanda don't run Missouri City. Michael Harris is a puppet, and Yolanda is Michael Harris is a puppeteer, and Yolanda is the puppet. And so when you got people are doing things to benefit themselves, they creating foundations. So anybody who want a contract got to donate to that foundation in order to get contract. And all these deals are made in the back room. Yep. When they made in the back room way before they come on front to the council, then, those things need to be brought out. And I think they will be brought out. I'm not just talking because I'm just talking. There's evidence. When you work for Park House and Norton and as a general counsel, and then you make sure you chase away the city managers doing good, and you bring in one that's under suspect, and he was the city manager of the city above Austin. You was general counsel for the same company, and then you're gonna bring him here, and all the mayor do is rubber stamp all of this, And when you look at another foundation, they got all the list of the incumbents on city council right now, all on the same foundation. Listen to what I'm saying. They all on the same foundation, geared up to collect money when they vote to give certain people contract, and they reap the benefit when they get out of office. That's not transparency. What that is corruption. And you want to talk about the previous mayor corrupt. This reeks of corruption. And when people voted, they voted for race and gender. Wow, whoa. She's a black woman. We're gonna vote her in. Okay, I got 16 sisters. They all look like me. They black. And I'm 100% supportive of my mom before she passed, 100% supportive of my sisters. But when you voting for somebody for race and gender, they're incompetent, ain't capable, ain't qualified, and they're over their head, you get what you get. And this is what you get, a hermit hiding away, not showing up, didn't show up last night, wouldn't show her face on the Zoom candidate forum we had last night, didn't show up Tuesday, didn't show up Wednesday, and still won't show up. Because you know why? When you are sneaky and you hiding something, you don't want to be seen. It's like a roach when the lights come on. What happened? They disappear. I grew up in Fifth Ward. I know how the roaches look, and this is a roach. You see a roach, you know a roach. And that roach right there continue to hide. And right now, it's time to cut the lights on. And when we talk about transparency, I need the lights to be on. We don't do nothing unless it's in front of the people, in front of everybody in Missouri so they can see it, and then they tell me what to do. They tell the candidate, the mayor. See, we're a policy maker board. We're not supposed to be in there creating laws and not supposed to be trying to run the city. That's what the city manager is. And then Michael Harris trying to get this policy on there where we be like Houston. We don't have Houston revenue. We don't have that kind of money. We can't do that. They actually turn Missouri City into a mayor-strong council where the mayor is the dictator. I don't want to be no dictator. I'm the chairman of the board, and that chairman listens to people. And in the Marine Corps, you cannot be a leader if you don't know how to follow. And if you don't know how to follow, there's no way you can be a leader. And so in this case right here, we don't have a leader nor a follower. We don't have COVID-19 for the last 6-7 months. We ain't heard or seen or anything with this mayor right here. And all she been doing is hiding out. The only person we done seen is
I tell you what, when you say that,
again.
When you say that, Demetri and Donovan, you remember the other night I spoke on that.
Yeah.
About the Harvey hurricane, the flood, and now the COVID. When this man said this woman is invisible, you cannot see, you don't see her anywhere.
Casper.
Doing anything.
Casper, the friendly ghost.
Pass a mask out. That's the new thing that's going on. I ain't seen her pass PPE out to the community, do anything for the seniors.
Not in Missouri City. It's a shame. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
let me ask this. Do you think the voters, the constituents know this? Are they fully aware that she is, non-existent really as far as their needs are concerned? I mean, you know it, Gary knows it. Do you think they know it? The voters know it?
I don't think enough voters know about it because they so used to this absentee mayor. And so they like go in. See, we are a bedroom community because the mayor before her created this bedroom community. Unfortunately, you can't stop it. You build it, we're going to come. And he wanted to create this lily white community where it's just Mayberry RFD. I'm sorry, we done came from 5th Ward. We done came from City Gas. We're going to come from 3rd Ward. We here. We're going to be here. We're going to come more because this is going to be the new Atlanta. We are. And unfortunately, he's gone where he needs to be. And unfortunately, we have her in there continue the same process. There's so many things that this community have said to me that they want, they need, and they deserve. And that is, they want a decent grocery store. Why in the hell we continue to talk about we're going to bring it in, but we don't even bring it up in council? We have not had a vote. We have not had anything on the agenda. We haven't done anything to even talk about at HEB or Kroger. But you know what HEB do? They said, you know what? Y'all don't talk about it. We're not going to bring it. But we put some heat on them. I'm talking about like Ali did Sonny Liston. Ali came up and drove a bus up in his yard. Ali got in his face. Ali forced that man to fight him. So we're going to force HEB to come to Missouri City by any means necessary. And I mean any means necessary because we deserve equality. Now, they want all of this glamour and stuff when we in this other type of neighborhood. They got like 5 or 6 HEB up and down Highway 6. We ain't got a damn HEB or Kroger's on 2234 where predominantly African Americans are. And that's a shame. What do that say? They say, you know what? We want y'all money in any other place, but we're not coming to your neighborhood unless it looked like what we wanted. And that's unfortunate. And we're going to stop that because I'm more Malcolm than I ever be Martin. And people know that about me. And that's probably why I do not get the support from the Grady Prestige. I'm calling his ass out. I don't get the support from Judge Clauser. I don't get the support from none of the elected officials. So I'm going to call these MF out because you know why? They don't support me. They'll never support me. And I never support them. And you know what? I don't give a damn. Because guess what? They are in these offices because they keep lying. They keep hoodwinking. They keep fooling these people. And they vote because they give us some damn chicken and some gumbo that's cold. But yet, there's nobody who necessarily need to run against them. So that old cold gumbo, that old fried chicken, and all that stuff like that, they can save that and keep that shit. I apologize if my language is bad.
No. Say what you want, Donovan.
You know, it's funny, Demetra. Who does this sound like? Who does this sound like, Demetra? You know, it sounds like you have a city that is similar to the city that I'm dealing with and the corruption that I'm dealing with, but we sound exactly the same. If you saw me at city council here, I would sound just like you right now. But here's my question for you. As a Marine, how was your Okinawa time?
Very itchy. You know, they got sand fleas. They got sand fleas. Yeah. They got monkeys that live bananas that keep running up and try to yank the wrong thing sometimes. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, the reason I bring that up is, you know, I was in Okinawa. My dad was a Marine. Wow. I was in Okinawa. I graduated high school over there. But every Marine, just about every Marine, does an Okinawa tour. So for those that don't know, Okinawa or Iwakuni, it's going to be one or the other in that area. But here's my serious question in regards to your candidacy. Here you are, a veteran, and you know, in this election cycle, by the way, for those that are watching, there are a lot of former veterans, or not former, but veterans that are running for office because they see the direction that this country is going in and the corruption that is just prevalent in all of these cities. There's a lot of veterans running. But why is it that you think with your background, you're a veteran, you're active in the community, I got some of your things, you have receipts of stuff that you're active in the community. Why is it that a person like you or myself could never get elected into these positions to make changes? You hear all the people complaining and hollering, but here you are, somebody who can get stuff done, and yet the support is not there.
Well, let me really address that, because I think we are so sheepish sometimes. Sometimes we are used to following the herd, and when you get somebody outside the line that don't conform, that don't go lock and step, I don't owe nobody. I finance my own campaign. I don't kiss no ass. I don't have to. And a lot of people that get elected, those who tuck their head, tilt their hat, tap dance, and do all the things they need to do to get in office. Hell with that. I'm not going to do that. I want the people to know that this person would fight for you like I fought for this country. And I'm not going to kiss ass. I'm not going to backdoor. My dad said, never bag up with your hand behind your back to get your paycheck. You work for it, you stand right straight forward, and you ask for your paycheck. And that's what I'm going to do. Vote for me, because I'm the one that's going to get it done. I only got 3 things on my platform that I said I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure seniors don't have to pay no property taxes, because I think they done paid enough over these last 50 years. That's important, because one day, if God says the same, with all this gray hair, we're going to be 65, and we should not have to continue to pay taxes. Other cities are doing it. They have done it. They done figured it out, but we haven't. We pay over 78% of property owners pay to support Missouri City. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous that it's on the back of the residents who own homes. And that should not be like that. But we can stop that, because you know what? Number one, we got to bring smart economic development to Missouri City. Not no doggone storage or no Popeye's chicken or none of those things that don't pay nothing. All they do is contribute to bad health, like the liquor store, the nail shop. I'm not knocking those business, but I'm saying we can do something better, like a good anchor store. We need a Target or a Super Walmart, because something's going to bring some serious revenue to Missouri City. And then we need to look at how we're going to support the community. And what I mean about that is we need stuff where our kids can get off the streets and go to work and help those single parents, not just mothers, but parents, where they can go and earn a living and then come back and buy their own $200 Jordans that I ain't never bought in my life. And then they can buy their own clothes going back to school. They can buy their own food when they at home and mama's still at work or daddy's still at work, instead of being in the street corners and looking for a place to play basketball that we don't have in Missouri City. These are so many things that's low-hanging fruit that we can do, but we ain't had nobody to even talk about it. The current mayor, she talked about it, but have not brought up one time on the agenda, let's get it done, until now, saying we're going to do it in 12 months. Hell, you've been there 8 years, okay? Piss on me and then call it rain? Now, old man said, don't piss on my head and then call it rain, and that's what she's trying to do.
Well, I want to ask you this here. I'm a Yates graduate, so I'm a Yates line. But I went out to Missouri City, and I helped the good kids and the people out there at Marshall High School. Send a shout out to Stephanie Brown. And absolutely. They made me an honorary Marshall Buffalo. You being a former educator, how, and maybe you can give us some insight, how would your administration work hand in hand with the schools that are low performing in Missouri City to try to get them kids up to speed, or just make the educational life of them better?
You know what? I'm still an educator. I'm certified special ed teacher, EC through 12. I'm highly qualified to be math teacher, to teach math, and I've done it both. And I've been a superintendent for a charter school. So I understand what it takes, because I came from that particular type of school. I came from a school that they looked at as Title I and food stamp and free lunch and reduced lunch and all of that. A lot of it got a lot to do with, where these kids' minds, at. And when I was a kid, man, if I graduated out of high school, I was doing good, because my dad came out he said he graduated from the 3rd grade. Let me hold my fingers up. My daddy said he graduated from the 3rd grade. How many fingers I got up? You get what I'm saying? So when he said he graduated from the 3rd grade, I knew I was doing good if I came out the 12th grade. So my whole entire thing was going to the Marine Corps. We got this thing called House Bill 5. House Bill 5 says 6-year graduation plan. If I know that I'm not a college-bound person, then I need a trade. And so they done took all the trades out of the schools. They done took welding, they done took wood shop, they done took hair, cosmetology, all of that. My mama did cosmetology, did hair for 50-some years. She went to Espanola. If y'all know anything about Fifth Ward, you know Espanola. And so that's what she did other than cleaning other people's houses. So she was a maid and she did hair. And so she took care of us along with my daddy as a bricklayer. My daddy was never going to go to college. But you know what? He raised 22 kids. Let me say it again, 22 kids. I'm number 21 of 22. And ain't none of us no criminal. Ain't none of us got a felony. I ain't going to say we ain't been to jail, but I say none of us got no felony because there's a lot of reasons growing up in Fifth Ward, you go to jail, just being black driving. And, you know, so that's a whole nother story. You know, growing up in Fifth Ward and City Gas, you know, encountering white cops that ain't never seen black people other than, you know, going to jail. You know, so and that's a whole nother thing we can talk about over there. But back to the question. When you have a neighborhood that is more geared towards what the next meal gonna be, and then you trying to teach them something, you know, it's a struggle, you know. And so as an educator, I said we have to educate the parents, the neighborhood, and then feed the kids, because they can come to school, but if they're hungry and if they're tired and if they didn't get no sleep, mama on the corner, because I'm gonna tell you, I had kids over there on Lockwood, whoever know about Lockwood, and you know, a couple of kids, mother and daddy, one was a pimp, the other two was, you know, they was hookers on the street. And I would go to their house and knock on the door, and my hand go right through the sheet. Let me say it again. I would go to their house, knock on their door, and my hand go straight through because it wasn't nothing but a sheet on their front door. And so when you have those type of environment and you have schools that steady having these levels that they are set based on the academic, or some schools that are in these neighborhoods that nobody have to worry about nothing other than going to school and coming back home, that's a disparaging type of, you know, economic situation that's going on right there. And I don't want to blame it on that, but then they want to blame it on the educators and say the educators don't care. It's not that we don't care. What it is that there's so many more resources that is needed to kind of help bring and lift some of those deficits that's in those communities, so these kids can actually come to school and concentrate and not sleep on the desk. You know, I was taught at Cashmere, I taught at Worthing and Wheatley and Sterling, I taught at Yates, I taught with Mr. William at Yates, you know, and I taught at Dick Dowling and Thomas Middle School over there at the Dead End. If you know about that area, all of those in the city schools, in the city schools, and there was a different need than a Ridge Point where I stay around the corner at. There's a different need from a Taylor. There's a different need from all these other schools that the kids come to school in a Mercedes-Benz. When I was a kid, my daddy, he came to school in a car that wouldn't cut off. You know, you cut the key off and it kept going. And you like run away real quick and hoping nobody seen you get out that car. That's a different need. You know, when the smoke keep going and follow you from your house to your school. And so I look at those kids and I say, y'all are no more different than me. I just had to work extra hard, go to the Marine Corps so I can get a better life. And if that's what we need to do, then guess what? We need to provide that opportunity. And so it's as a mayor, we are responsible for dealing directly with the ISDs, you know, the independent school district, like the Fort Bend ISD that, you know, me and you, Monroe, we was there, you know, dealing with them, trying to get things in line over there because they ignore the east side. You know, we got good people on there like Allison, you know, she's over there busting her tail to try to make sure that she bring equity to us over there. You got Stephanie Brown, Miss Burley, you know, now we got Cynthia Linton Gary over there on the HCC school board that represent all of this. So all of this is going to culminate together to try to make my city, Missouri City, the heart of it right there on 2234, a better place. That's why I supported ACC, because, you know, a lot of them classes was too expensive at U of H. They was too large, and I couldn't get nothing answered. So ACC was a smaller class, cheaper, where I can afford it. And I was then able to pass those classes because the teacher was there to help me. You know, so there's all kind of things we need to do to kind of create an environment so our kids can be successful. And the mayor can play a big part in that.
So let me ask you this. I want to ask you about Cynthia Ginyard. She, I guess, is the Democratic chair out there. And for all of the things that you've described, and it also sounds like she's somewhat of a king or queen maker in politics out there. for all of the things you've described, why isn't she putting forth, in your opinion, and give me your opinions about her, and why do you think she's not putting forth better candidates such as yourself that really has made a difference and wants to make a difference? As a mayor, you guys have said that Yolanda Ford has been in the office for 8 years, and people, she's like a recluse. It's like, you know, where on earth is she? Does she even exist? And so why is it that Ms. Ginyard is willing to, I guess, put forward a candidate like that opposed to someone like yourself?
You got a beep, 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 beep button before I start? Let me know if you got those.
Do your thing. Do
my thing? All right, so I'm going to try to censor myself. Number one, Cynthia Ginyard didn't know the difference between a door hanger and a push card. Door hanger, when I miss you. A push card, hello, how you doing? She didn't know the difference. You know, that's number one. But it goes to say that we're still sheepish because we'll vote for somebody just because they are that person at that given time. And that's how she got in that office. Not because she qualified. It's because at that time, there was a vote against the current person that was in there. Same thing with Yolanda. She got in there because there was a vote against Alan Owen that had been in there almost 30 years. They didn't want him no more, so they voted for her. Now, why a person like me don't get support? Number one, when Cynthia decided she want to go with Yolanda, she flat out lied. I got text messages where she started, and I'm going to share it with Monroe. There's no giving, no holding back. Cynthia Ginyard said to me in 2018, Fred, I want you to pay for a fundraiser for the Democratic Party. I told Cynthia Ginyard, there's no way I'm going to do that. I don't have the time to do it. And number one, I'm too busy. She turned around and sent out a flyer saying, Fred Taylor getting ready to do a fundraiser. I found out about it by the state rep that called me. You going to do a fundraiser? I said, no, but hell no. Why would I do a fundraiser? Well, Cynthia Ginyard sent out this flyer. I said, well, let me call her. So I called her. I said, Cynthia. And I texted her too. And I got the text message. I said, I didn't agree to do no fundraiser. Why you got my name saying I'm going to do a fundraiser? Well, you got the money. And if you stand by me and pay me $1,500, then I take a picture with you and it'll be good for you. I said, no, number one, I ain't paying nobody $1,500 to take no picture with me. You should pay me. I'm not an ugly guy. The second thing is, you know, when you send out something and I don't do it, it makes me look like I'm bagging out of something. And I'm a man of my word. I'm a loyal person to the end. And that's just my fault. I'm so loyal to a fault. And so she put that out there and then said, I'm going to leave it out there because, you know, it makes you look good. And then all of a sudden, she started saying, Fred Taylor, he bagged out, trying to downside, trying to backdoor the Democratic Party, this and that. I text her. I got the text right here. I text her. I said, Ginyard, I did not agree to that. She said, oh, I know you didn't. And I'm going to share you the text. As soon as we get off here, I'm going to text you the text message. I may do it right now.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You don't have to
share. Where she said, well, you don't give me a TV.
You don't have to share, Fred.
Huh?
Fred, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You don't have to share it because you've already shown it. So everything he's saying is the truth.
She said, can you give me a TV? I said, sure. I donate a TV for a raffle. I got the text message where I said that. And she said, okay, good. And at that point, I thought it was done. The next thing I heard, she said, me and my wife is standing out there at the parking lot when my aunt just died, just passed away. And I was at the hospital, MD Anderson, with her. And I was there. And then somebody said, Fred, you in the parking lot? I said, no, I'm at MD Anderson with my aunt. She just passed. And they said, well, Cynthia Ginyard saying you and your wife is standing in the parking lot. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not nowhere close to whatever y'all having. I don't even know where y'all having it at. But this is the lie that she have done. And she have stayed with that lie so long, she cannot bag off that lie. She got to stay with that lie until the day she died. I don't know how she look at herself in the face. I don't know how she wake up in the morning with that lie. And she
well, let me ask you this question, and then I'll give it to Donovan. Not being able to confirm it, just, you know, what's in the air. From what I understand, that she holds congressional possible candidates hostage to make sure nobody from that area runs against Sheila Jackson Lee or Al Green. Can you speak on that?
Oh, absolutely. What Cynthia do is, and it's known, new candidates come in, they're afraid of her because they're like this. Well, Fred, you know, I know she's wrong, and I can list a whole list of them because they buy signs from me, they talk to me, and because I like them, I ain't gonna throw them under the bus. But they'll tell me, no, we know that Miss Cynthia is wrong, but I don't need to pick no fight with her because I don't need no more bad animosity or nothing in my campaign. So she got those new candidates at arm's length. But then you got the Al's, you got the Sheilas, you got the all these other elected officials, the Grady, the judge, and everybody, even Ron. You got them all at this position where they're going to donate to the Democratic Party because they don't want her to slide a black woman against them. So the best thing for them to do is shut their mouth, let her do what she want to do, and give her money so she won't run nobody against her. That's the mob mentality. You know, that's not a chair. You got the chair right now is using Democratic Party funds to stuff Yolanda, Chris, and Vashanda's push cards in bags with all of the county-wide candidates using county funds. That's illegal. Now, all of that been done and called out to the ethics committee. We wait and see what they're going to do, because there's a lot of Democrats that had to use that donated money that don't support Yolanda, but their money is being used to stuff bags for Yolanda and Chris and Vashanda. I know if I donated money to that party and my money was used against a person that I'm not for, I'd be mad and upset about it. And a lot of them are. We got proof, because you got people was putting that in there and call and text me and say, Fred, hey, we up here, we're putting Yolanda stuff in the bag, and I just don't think that's right. What should we do about it? I said, hey, that's your choice. You can stay there, you can leave. But we know it's wrong. But Miss Cynthia asked us to do this. Miss Cynthia did. And so you don't have no candidate with balls, excuse me, you don't have no candidate with good balls to be able to stand there and say, that's wrong. We don't stand for this. I mean, nobody. I mean, not an elected official. The closest person that do have balls, I think, in this community that will say something but have not said nothing, and that's Boris Miles. Normally, Boris speak out on everything. I ain't heard nothing.
Well, let me interpret that for y'all. Just one time, I'm interpreting. He said, ain't nobody out there got no nuts to go against Cynthia Ginyard.
So when
Well, you know,
got that, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, me?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, let me ask you this question, and this is an important question. It might cost you some votes. So, you know, I want you to really think about this. The Texans just fired their head coach. Who should come in and replace him?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have not watched no TV since April, and I'm not just punting on this. I just have not watched it. You know, my mind been, you know, I got to be honest with you. I may lose some vote on this statement, but I've been in a depressed state of mind since my mom died. I lost 50 pounds. I have not been eating. You know, I'm in a state of, you know, I miss her. She wrote a letter saying I should run for this campaign because she said my third time is my time and she want to see me in heaven as the mayor. And so I jumped in this race knowing that I have something to give, something I have to offer. And I thought about when she was getting ready to meet her maker in heaven, when we had to come together and think about how we're going to pay her house note, how we're going to pay her taxes. And that's how I came up with the number one thing on my platform. Seniors should not have to figure out they're going to go to a senior citizen home, sell their home, or move in with one of their kids. That shouldn't happen because their income is not going up, but the taxes steady going up. And so when I thought about that, I had to think a whole lot. What do I want to do in this world? What do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do to give back to this community? And all of that been my primary focus. So the Texans, you know, I know a lot of people like them, but they ain't even on my burner right now. They not.
I heard that. That's a great answer.
What you say?
Yeah, that's a great answer. It's an honest answer, and that's what I'm saying. You know, the honesty is just honesty and politics nowadays just don't go together. But you know, I like that answer. But let me follow this up. We have a lot of problems with the police, as you know. I mean, you know, you're from the ward and all that other good stuff. What if you're elected? What is going to be your relationship in regards to the police department and what's going on in that area?
You know, I think Berzine is a good police chief. I have a great relationship with him. I have community in the community all the time. They will call me. I got a special phone, 713-384-6567. They call me on it and they say, Fred, so-and-so came in our neighborhood and flashed the lights in my eyes. Or somebody came in there and pulled me over and I ain't do nothing. I don't care what it is, they're going to call me. And I get on the phone, I call Chief and I tell him, hey, Chief, I need to come to your office and talk about it. He'll pull up the video or he'll pull out something and he'll show me, you know, whatever it is. And he'll call that officer in and deal with that right then and there. Because he know I don't play. If I have to get involved in something at a deeper, you know, at a level that, you know, we can't talk about right now, I will. So that's the kind of dude I am. They say, Fred, that's the kind of end you are. I'm really that type of end because I do believe in getting down to the bottom of something. And you can't just piss on my head and call it rain with me because I've been there, done that. You know, I was an MP in the Marine Corps. So I know that officers have certain discretion and they have certain rules and they have certain powers that they don't have to, you know, execute or exist in and live in and walk in, shooting somebody in the back seven times just because he's a black man running away from you. You let that guy go. You got the license plates. You got stuff that you can go back to his house. You can find him. You ain't got to kill that man. There's so many things that they can do. And I guarantee you, we got an officer do something like that. If I don't shoot his ass, you know, I have somebody shoot him. I shouldn't have said that, but you know what? Sometimes you got to fight with fight. And sometimes if they do that, you go to their house. And I know I'm really messing up really bad, but I got to tell you what's on my mind sometimes. If an officer shoot my son, I'll be damned if he going to make it to the courtroom. I'm telling you, they ain't going to make it to the courtroom. And I'm going to be honest with you. That's the way I feel. That's what I'm saying. I don't give a damn. I'm on Gary Monroe show. But I will say this standing in front of the White House butt naked and say, let a cop shoot my son. I guarantee you, you don't have to spend no money on court with him. And we're not going to have that kind of stuff in the city that I'm the mayor of.
Well, we sitting there tonight, man. We having an intimate conversation with Fred G. Taylor, running for mayor of Missouri City, Texas. So, Fred, the elephant in the room in politics is reparations. What you feel about it?
I think they owe us. Hell, they done gave the Jews everything that they want. Then, you know, we build this country. I mean, just look at it. Washington, D.C., you know, Philadelphia, Houston. And we go on and on. Every city that's anything, New Orleans, it's all built by black people and slaves. And yet, they still telling us we the laziest this and we the laziest that because we haven't done nothing. There's so many obstacles that have been put in front of us, from Jim Crow to taxing and taking a test to vote, all kind of things, lynching. And ain't nobody saying nothing about all of that. Are we old? Yes. And I think it's about time. That bill been up and voted down, but yet you got all these Democrats. Let me say it again. You got all these Democrats, rats, that been in office and had the opportunity to pass these bills when they was in charge under Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, his first term. But yet, we still talking about reparation. We're still talking about passing these laws where cops can't put their knee on our throat for 40-some seconds. Why are we talking about this? We done been in charge. It ain't nothing but some BS. If they want to pass this stuff when we done been in power, they could have passed it. It's just the wrong people playing the wrong game. We're looking at these Democrats and saying, okay, these Democrats are for us. If they were for us, we wouldn't have these problems. Then the Republicans getting every damn thing they want because they do what they want to do when they got the power. When we got the power, we don't do a damn thing. We just go along and get along. So, you know, you can't get me to be praising nobody because ain't nobody did a damn thing. I can't name nobody that really stood up and did something when it was time to do it. I can't name nobody. If you can name somebody, please share that person with me. But put me in the office.
Well, Al Jackson got a simple question for you.
All right.
Biden or Trump? Biden or Trump? You got drinking one on that.
Both of them racist. One was the best friend of the racist, Strom Thurmond, for over 50 years. One believed that we should stay where we at, pass the laws that put more African American in jail the rest of his life, and the other one just speak on it. 50-50. What you get? You know, I heard people say, what is it? A hoe get paid and somebody else get laid. You know, hey, both of them. That's all I can say about that, because if you're gonna be a friend with a racist for that many years, you ain't too far removed from being one your damn self. So, I mean, it is what it is. You sleep with fleas, you're gonna get fleas on you. And Trump, what he do is he say what it is, and his people believe in him, and guess what? They rock with him. You know, so you can't knock that, because we know what he is. Biden is in some type of sheep's clothing, trying to act like he's our friend and wanna, you know, I'm gonna go back to it. He gonna piss all over our head. And then Kamala Harris said, I smoked with when I was in college. Hell, Tupac wasn't 6 years old. How the hell you gonna smoke with Tupac? Tupac 10 years younger than me, and I don't remember Tupac until I got in my 30s. And Kamala Harris is 4 years older than me. She didn't smoke no damn weed. She wanted to smoke some weed. She could have came into my house and smoked some weed. I'm sorry. TMI.
I mean,
I would legalize marijuana.
All right, then.
I would legalize marijuana.
So I just want to say this. You hear people say all the time, you know, I'm running for office, but I'm not a politician. I want to say right here that Mr. Taylor is not a politician. And I mean that in a good way, right? He is not a politician. And for the life of me, I don't understand why you are not the mayor. Like, why wouldn't people want somebody who is as open and honest and straightforward as you? Like you spoke no lies here tonight, and somehow somebody will walk into the booth and vote for the now mayor who has done nothing for them. I am baffled by that. But I also want to say to you, my condolences on the loss of your mother. I too lost my mom, and Gary's mom is no longer here. If you never lost your mama, you don't know pain. So I get everything that you said about that. But in regards to the helping the seniors, and I think that is so awesome that they don't have to pay taxes past 65. How are they receiving that? Like, what is the feedback from seniors about that?
You know, the feedback that I'm getting from that has been very, very positive. I mean, those who know about it, I'm trying to get more people to know about it. So we got to push this weekend to do a big parade up and down Hunters Glen and Hunters Quail Green. So we want people to know about it. I'm going to put my speaker in the back of my truck, and I'm going to stand up there and I'm going to tell them we're going to pass out flyers saying, hey, if you're 65, you need to be with Fred Taylor, because guess what? Your income ain't going to go up. You may not ever get hired at a job that can make your income go up. So I guarantee you one thing, you're going to die and your taxes going to continue to come every year, you know? So those two things going to be real. I never expect my mom to die. I know that sounds crazy, but that's not one thing I ever thought in my life I've had to deal with. It's a hard thing. And people look at me like had a friend over today. He said, man, you don't have no room to lose no more weight. You know, I was 250 pounds. I'm 180 pounds now. And it's just in my mind, I don't have nobody to pick up and call and bounce off nothing to, you know, and that's a serious thing. But you know what? The strength that I get is the strength that I know that I can give back to the community. And I can give back, not being an elected official. I can give back to the school. Thurgood Marshall's over here. We got a High Tower over here. We got Hunters Glen Elementary. We got Glover Elementary. And so these are schools with people that look like me. I'm not a racist that's saying that, oh, all the other schools don't matter. What I am saying is these schools look like me. And if ain't nobody else going to take care of me, I got to take care of me. And the same thing goes towards these schools. And you know what? Hey, if they don't vote for me because I'm open and I'm real, then you know what? That's their loss. You know, because everybody in Fort Bend, I done helped them get in office, or I done managed their campaign, I done supported them. And they want me to stay there because they need somebody they can continue to go to that well. Guess what? That well is dry. That well is closed. Right now, we're going to team up, and all these old people that's been in there for all these many years, we're coming after you. I don't give a damn who you are. We're coming after you because it's time for you to go. If you're not doing what's supposed to be in the community, I guarantee you after November 4th, when I win or if I don't win, Fred Taylor would be back in his old role of making sure the right people get in office or get the hell up out of there.
Well, let me ask you this here. You know we got a food desert in Missouri City. Tell us about your idea about the Kemah Boardwalk for Missouri City.
You know what? We can do that. I'm gonna put that up on my Facebook page because it's already been planned out, schemed out over 15 years ago, 10 years ago. $22.3 million. Let me just tell you what that'll bring. Number one, we're talking about trying to give seniors a break on their taxes. If you understand what the Kemah Boardwalk, what it brings to that small little city that's half the size of Missouri City, millions of dollars, because everybody all over the place travel down 45 to go to Kemah. I mean, it's a destination spot. And we drop off more money there than we do in our own backyard in Missouri City. We don't have nothing in Missouri City that we can spend our tax money. I would say over 70% of our tax money that could be in Missouri City goes out of Missouri City. And so I've already identified where we're going to put it at. We already got the schematic plan. We got everything already in place, but except the will and the person who want to do it. And that's me. So that's going to bring, again, jobs for these kids. These kids will have a place to go when they get out of school at 12 o'clock, like I did when I was in high school. You know, we got out of school at lunchtime. We went and we worked, and then they'll keep them off the streets. Those jobs can help mama and daddy pay for things that they just don't have. That's number one. Number two, it'll offset some of that those tax relief that we're gonna do for the seniors and property owners. That's one of the things. But then what it has to do, it'll bring the necessary revenue that's come from our sales tax that we can pay for our police and our fire, our first responders. And then we can do some of these extra things that we want to do just with that Kemah Boardwalk type of deal, the Missouri City Boardwalk, because it will bring people from all over the place, which that money would be captured. And then we can earmark that money to start relieving some of the burden of the property taxes. Instead of us paying 78% of all of Missouri City, funding Missouri City, we can start reducing off the property owners. Now, let me tell you this real quickly. When you start giving senior citizen tax breaks where they don't have to pay after 65, young people with families start saying, I can get a 30-year house note at the age of 25, and by the time I'm 55, I got 10 years and I ain't got to pay no taxes. So I'm bound to buy a house in Missouri City. And if I buy a house in Missouri City, I can look forward to not having to pay taxes. So that's going to bring and attract more young people. And then going back to the education side, when you bring more young people, they look for quality schools. And we work with the ISDs to bring quality schools in our neighborhood. I guarantee you we will get the tax base that we want, because they're going to be looking for quality schools. They're going to look for that break when they turn 65. And so all of that, when we look at the Kemah Boardwalk, is the key to Missouri City staying strong and vibrant and moving forward and past Sugar Land and Pearland. We got to get it before they do. Is money.
Final thoughts, Mr. Nick.
I'm sorry.
Now, well, my final thoughts is, first of all, thank you so much, Mr. Taylor, for coming on here. I saw somebody else say that they were speaking it into existence for you, and I also am speaking it into existence for you, that you will be the next mayor there of Missouri City. But I will say to you guys out there that can vote for him, not only should you go vote for him, but go talk to 10 people and tell them to talk to 10 people that can vote for him. Get the word out that Mr. Taylor should be you guys' next mayor. If you are really interested in achieving results, hire somebody, or elect somebody rather, who is actually going to get the job done. Don't continue to elect people who are reclusive and don't want to come out and even talk to you. And as Gary said, hand you a mask. Get somebody in there who is going to be visible, and you can see the work that they're doing. You'll never have to guess what Mr. Taylor is doing. So get out there and vote and spread the word that you guys need a new boss in office to move the ball for you all. And I wish I could vote for you, but I can't. But I'm speaking it out there for you, and I believe that you'll be successful.
Final thoughts, Donovan.
Again, thank you for coming on the show. Semper Fi always. Even though I joined the Air Force because my dad was a Marine, so I did the Air Force. But
by connection.
Yeah, there you go. But out to everybody out there as well. I mean, everybody keeps complaining about what's wrong with politics and stuff. What's wrong with politics is what's wrong with us. Look at the people that we keep voting in the office. Right now, I think what you need to do, not only get out and talk and tell 10 of your friends, you guys got cell phones, text somebody and say, hey, this is the guy you need to vote for. This is the person you need to look at, because election season comes for me. I get all kinds of people that don't really know what's going on in politics. They say, who should I vote for? What do you think? And I kind of just tell them, hey, this is the people you need to go with. So this is the type of person you need to go, because he has receipts. He's in the community. He's doing the work. Reminds me a lot about what I'm doing out here in California. I could never get elected here, but yet there's a project this is going on, a project that's going on. Everybody knows I'm involved with that, or I'm going to get involved with that. So I'm telling you guys, this is your candidate. If you are tired of the same old and the Casper the Friendly Ghost candidates, this isn't him. This is the guy that you want to win. So good luck to you. And if by happen chance you don't get it this cycle, please stay involved in the community, because they need you. They need you.
Well, I'm gonna end it with this here.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna end it with this here. I've helped 14 candidates, and out the gate, and I won 12 races. Some candidates I just lock arms with because I like them and I believe in them. Ginyard gonna rock with Yolanda. Fred, if you don't mind, pick up the X Factor Monroe. I'm gonna rock with you. And I mean, I'm telling all y'all, I'm invading the polls. I'm buying your poll workers off. I'm gonna get these votes for Fred Taylor, man. I'm gonna tell you straight up what it is, man. Because I see it, I see the work, I see the passion, and I understand why y'all don't vote for people like Fred, Donovan, Demetri, and Monroe. We too raw for MTV and we too black for BET. But it's time out for the foolishness, because as a community, we are behind. So Fred, if you don't mind, I'm gonna rock with you, man. And when I touch it, know what it is. Ginyard is you against Ginyard is you and Ford against Fred and Monroe. And I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna leave you alone. We gonna kick your ass November 3rd. It ain't going to a runoff. Say, man, thank y'all for tuning in. I think one of the best political candidates we've had on the show this election season, my man Fred Taylor, running for mayor of Missouri City, Texas. I want to thank my good friend Donovan Sadiq, the Queen Demetri K, and I am the 5-star General Ginyard. I got my black BDUs. I got my steel-toe boots. And I can promise you I'm going to get out for this Marine. I'm going to get out for him. November 3rd, you're taking a L. I'm telling you right now. Until Monday, we'll holler at y'all.
Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. Let's legalize marijuana.